Sometimes everything seems to fall apart. You get fired, you get retired, everything seems to be ended. But then, even in the midst of devastation, you can pick up a ministry and reach out to thousands of people and change their lives. Stay tuned. Hi, my name is Father Mike Manning. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in. We're doing a program in which we're trying to understand how God is entering into our life, into the ordinary things of our life, with power and strength. And I've got the joy of talking with a dear friend, Eloy. God bless you. Thank you very much for coming and being on the set. You're an inspiration to me, and every time I say that, you say, oh dear, or whatnot. But you're a man who's been able to take a gift that God has given you, sometimes in the midst of things that don't seem to be going in the right direction, and you turn it around and you bring great blessings to people. Tell me a little bit about your faith in God. What's the history of your relationship with God in your life?
Well, I was raised in Winslow, Arizona, and the church was just about 3 houses away from
your home.
My home.
Yeah.
And I was raised there, going to church every Sunday, and my mom and dad would take us. And
had brothers and sisters?
Oh, yes, I had brothers. I had 1 sister and 4 brothers.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your relationship with Jesus, though. You can say, oh, I go to church, but was there a personal relationship with Christ in your life?
Yes, there was. When I was 11 years old, I had an accident, and they told my mom and dad that I probably had a 50% chance of making it.
What had happened?
I got this young man. We were riding bicycles, both of us, and he got in front of me, and I ended up putting the handlebars inside of my stomach.
Oh boy!
And they operated on me, and then 2 weeks later, the doctor, I guess, he poked one of my intestines, and I got a obstruction.
Oh boy!
And at that time, they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. But finally, this great doctor, he got a hold of me there and operated on me, and I made it all right.
So this is this 50-50 chance of living.
Yes.
Is this how you found Christ?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
In praying, and my mom and dad and my brothers and sister were praying, and actually I was healed through God's prayers.
Isn't that interesting that God is not just someone that you read about in a book or that you attend a mass with, but when you run into a situation where your life is really on the line and tragedy seems to come, everything turns around, doesn't it?
Yes.
And Christ can become real.
Yes.
From that, you've borne that presence of Christ in your life in a great way. You joined the Marines?
Yes, I joined the Marines after I graduated from Winslow High.
And then after with the Marines, you came out, and how did you end up here in California?
Well, I went back to Winslow, Arizona, and I spent there 30 days. And they were hiring at the railroad, actually, for welders, and I knew how to weld. And I went over there to apply for a job, and they said, well, we're all filled up. So I was walking out, and he says, do you have any other trade? And I said, well, I was in communications in the Marine Corps. He says, just the man we're looking for.
I love it. I love it. So you're walking out.
Yes.
And they call you back after telling you that nothing's working. Okay.
So then they told me we need a lineman up in California. We got a job there at Fallbrook, right around Camp Pendleton. So
you'd been there, as a Marine, you'd been there to the big camp. Okay.
So I ended up right next door to Camp Pendleton and all that again. And I started working there, and I worked there for 25 years.
Wow. But the story that that I'm intrigued with is, you know, you're a person of great generosity. You're always willing to help, but you're always striking me as a person that doesn't run away from hard labor and doing it well. When you have a job, you do it well. You work at it. But something happened after you were working with the railroad here in California. You had another problem that arose.
Yes.
Tell us what happened.
Well, the shops, the Santa Fe shops, were here in San Bernardino for.
This is Santa Fe Railroad.
Santa Fe Railroad shops were here for 105 years in San Bernardino, and they decided they were going to move to Topeka, Kansas.
Wow.
Pull up stakes and leave to Topeka, Kansas. So they tried to take all the people from San Bernardino to Topeka, transfer them over. So I ended up going over there for 2 months, and then I came back to move my family to Topeka.
Tell us about your family. How many children?
7 kids.
7 kids.
Yes.
Hello. Okay. You had to move them all, which was not too exciting for the children. I'm sure.
No, they had to get out of school, and they all had their plans and all that. So I ended up going over there and came back to move my family. And when I came back, I developed this what they call tachycardia, this supraventricular tachycardia,
which is a heart problem.
Yes, with heart flutter. And this Dr. Torres, Velma Torres, she said, you can't work high voltage stuff anymore, so you can't go back to work.
So you were working as an electrician with the Santa Fe Railroad. Yes. You were just having a chance to move out of the place where you'd lived for many years and take the 7 children and move them to a brand new place.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, now you find yourself extremely sick and extremely disabled, if you will.
Then, like I say, God works in mysterious ways, and He had His plans for us.
So you were able to, when they found you've got a serious health problem.
Yes.
What did you feel about that? Well,
at first I was more or less scared, but I put it in God's hands.
There's something that I want to get at, and this is the heart of what I think is really exciting. You became involved with the concern with people that were hungry, that were poor, that didn't have enough toys at Christmas, or didn't have enough clothes to be able to live with,
or to eat. And
where did this concern come from? Okay, so you're retired, if you will.
Yes.
But now you've got something going. Where did this start? Did this happen with your family?
Yes, I remember my mom and dad, when we were in Winslow, I remember that hobos would come down, and my dad would tell my mom, feed them, and they would sit outside, and my mom would feed them, cook for them, feed them. And pretty soon, these hobos, I guess they got the word around that they were giving out food there, so once in a while, a bunch of hobos would stop by, and my mom would make food for them.
Now we move into the experience of what's happening here in Colton, California, where you, who are out of your ordinary work, suffering with some struggles, some health problems that would have said, now make sure you don't do too much. But you started something. Tell us a little bit about what you started.
Well, what started was this man by the name of Rudy Cordero. I met him at church. And he had a little pickup truck, and he would go pick up about 5 boxes of bread and give it to the people there at the church. Where
would he pick up bread? Where?
At Action Community Food Bank.
Oh, so there would be a food bank.
Action.
Okay, so there's some place you could get. Okay.
And I started going with him. He was getting a little older, and I said, well, I'll go help you. And when we started there, when I started with them, they would ask us, do you want more bread? And he would say, oh, no, that's all. And I said, get more bread. So we ended up after years, the trucks would come, the big trucks from the food bank would come with about, I would say, 15,000 pounds of bread. And
15,000 pounds of bread. Oh my gosh!
The whole truckload. Bread and sweets and all that. And meantime, we were feeding the people every Tuesday.
I want to get into some of the nitty-gritty of what it means to actually reach out and start taking care of poor people, especially with our economic problems,
Yes.
and some of the obstacles that you've run into,
Yes.
and some of the blessings that are happening with,
Yes.
with risking doing that. So stay tuned. We're going to be right back and understand some really powerful things happening with living the Christian message. You and I both know that these are difficult financial times, and you can imagine with the nonprofit television program, well, it's hard for people to give donations. I'm coming to you today to ask if you would perhaps think of giving us some support. These are tough times, and I'm so on fire with the desire to continue this high-quality television program getting into the lives of many people. I need your help. We don't have commercials. And many people think that because we're Catholic, we've got the Vatican or the bishops are giving us all the money we need, and it's not so. If you are blessed by the program, could you return a blessing to us? And remember that when we talk through the television and through the internet, we're getting to people who are perhaps no longer going to church, people who are alienated. This is a marvelous way for you to express your missionary vocation of bringing the good news of the Lord to many people. Oh, it's a powerful way. Let's make sure it continues. What we do is we do interviews with people of faith. I teach about the Bible, and then we have the wonderful ministry of the apps, the iPhone, the Android, the ability to be able to get onto telephones and talk with, get this, 10,000 instances of sharing the good news in 72 countries around the world. Wonderful things are happening as we try to catch the wave of the new things that are happening. Now, every year we have a financial review by an independent auditing company. So if you would like to know where the money is going, we are more than glad to send this to you. Remember, we need your help. Whether it's a large gift or a small gift, we've got to continue, and you are the ones that will allow us to do that. Thank you so much. You've decided that you're going to follow the course of your mom and dad out in Winslow, Arizona, and start to do what you can, even in the midst of a physical problem and disability, but a desire to try to serve people. It starts to grow, doesn't it?
Yes.
You started out with bread, and then it moves beyond bread to meals and even toys.
And then the contracts with the food bank were every first Thursday of the month, they give us enough food to give out to 312 families. And
312, okay.
Families. And these are commodities that the Action Community Food Bank gives us, and I had to do a contract with them and other contracts we have with them about, salvage food and all that. That's good.
So you find that there are places where you can go and they can start to supply food for you, even it might be even grocery stores or even specialized people.
Yes.
But tell me a little bit about who are the people that you had to call in to try to be part of this army of service to the poor and hungry.
They've been for 20, I've been there for 20 years now, and 20 years, Stater Brothers has given us bread every Tuesday of the month.
Wow.
I mean, Tuesday of the week.
Okay,
every week? We go every week from Action Community Food Bank, because they pick it up, but Stater Brothers gives so much of their meats, vegetables, you name it.
How do you get a team of people together to be able to do this?
Well, these people, it comes out of their heart. They just show up and they say, can we help? Can we help? And I got some people that I don't know how I would do it without them, like my head cook, Mary Cemental, and Andy. He's my treasurer and bookkeeper, you name it. He's runs around all over the place. And
you started the ball rolling, and then people all of a sudden said, hey, here's something that I can start to use my own talent as a cook, as a finance person, or whatever they're doing. They join with you, and this becomes that team. But you're also involved with some young people, aren't you, that are kind of wards of the state?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
These kids that get in trouble, they got to do so many hours community service, and we take them to, to help us out and all that. And these kids, in 20 years that I've had these kids coming over and helping us, I've never had any problems with them. No problems. All they need is to be treated with respect.
What do they do?
Well, they from clean the hall, clean restrooms, give out the bread. They serve the meals.
I've come over a few times to maybe get a free meal if I can, but also to say some prayers with people. But it really is impressive to see those young people. They're just standing there. They'll oftentimes be the ones that are standing in a line, and they go and they serve each person that's there. Each person, they care for them. And as long as you give them a respect, they start giving the respect to the people that they're serving. And what a wonderful transformation, and what a wonderful message that is to the people. Ooh.
And after they serve the community service, a lot of them come back on their own to volunteer.
Just free, on their own.
On their own.
Wanting to do that.
Yes.
Tell me, you're making it sound like oh boy, this is easy. You just get out and you just do that. And you just go out and pick up some bread and go out and people come. Are there some problems that you run into?
Yes, there's problems, but like when I leave my home, when we're going to serve the needy, I got to cross there at my stairwell on the first landing there, and I ask the good Lord to guide me in everything that I do and I say. And that's all it takes. And there's a lot of stuff that you got to make decisions on and all that. And you might have to make some hard decisions, but the Lord takes care of that.
I know the one thing that you're always saying to me, and it's beautiful, is that whenever you serve, you've got to be careful that you're not just dealing with impersonal people, but you're really caring for people. And sometimes you can forget that.
Yes.
Especially when you get into a routine of people coming in, and they might not smell good.
Yes.
They might not have good attitudes, and they might even be more demanding than you think they should be. Are you with me on this?
Yes.
And that can become.
I've been called every name in the book, and
even though you're trying to help.
And then I just, like for instance, not too long ago, this man, and we had problems with him, and I told him, well, God bless you, when he was leaving, and I said, well, you can't come back anymore. So that night he came back and he apologized. He asked for forgiveness.
Wow, because you had the courage to be able to stand up to him.
The last word I said to him, God bless you.
Well, I say that to you because I'm looking at you thinking, this is really great that you've taken your gift, you've taken, even in the midst of struggles, you've taken your gift and you've reached out and you're caring for the poor. But sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it's tough.
I figure this way, that you got to be like a duck in water. Just let the water roll off your back. Because if you start worrying about things like that, forget it. You'll get ulcers and everything.
You've got to let
this is only for 30 seconds or so that these people are telling you, and you can't worry about this.
Gotcha. Tell me a little bit about your lovely wife, Mona.
Oh, if it wouldn't be for my wife, I wouldn't be able to do anything.
Why do you say that? I mean,
because she's the one that holds up the household. She's the one that took care of my kids, raised them up, made them study, and
because you had to be away a lot.
Yes.
With your job, you had like that, but Mona was there to be with you in a great way. Lovely lady, and we'll get some photos and pictures that people can see Mona and be with us for that.
Great.
Oh, that's great. Tell me about the future. What do you see? Do you see just going on and on and on. And here's another question. How are you going to be able to pass this on to make sure that it continues?
Well, I've been trying to find some people to, that I can start teaching them, but it's a little bit hard, but God will.
Has it been able to do that? Yeah.
There's some people interested in it, but they start, gung-ho, and then all of a sudden then
they pull back.
Yes.
It takes a commitment, doesn't it?
Yes.
20 years.
Yes.
You've been doing it for 20 years.
Yes, and it seems like yesterday.
Does it really? Yeah.
Yes.
But your faith, tell me a little bit about your faith. Now, we talked about your faith as the experience of the Lord and when it happened when you were a young boy, and that became a foundation. And you're talking about every time you come down before you go off to serve them, you pass the crucifix in your hallway, and that prayer in the Lord.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the church in terms of is the Catholic Church giving you support in what you're doing?
Yes, every now and then they'll take a collection up for the dinner hour, and that takes care of like the, paper plates and all that, cups and, condiments. And, but there's a man there that he's a saint. He's got to be a saint. He got us freezers, refrigerators, stoves.
Oh, so this is a big deal. This isn't just a hall where people come in and you give them food. You've got to store food.
You got to store food because Stater Brothers gives us, sometimes a lot of meat or vegetables or this or that.
How many people come on Thanksgiving? How many people come around Christmas?
Thanksgiving, we served over 800 meals.
Wow. And what about toys? Were you able to get some toys for children at Christmas?
Oh, yes. For Christmas, thanks to Susan Oliva, a councilwoman, and Cynthia De La Rosa that was instrumental in getting me the councilwoman. We ended up with 850 gifts, and they provided half of the gifts.
Wow.
And the church, collections and the people. I have what we call an angel tree in back of the church. And whoever comes to the church can take a little angel and bring back a gift.
Ah, so an angel will have a
boy or girl
name
from ages, and they take an angel and they bring back a gift. And then plus I'll get some donations from people that don't want to be recognized as giving donations, and they'll give me the money, and I'll go and buy gifts. Me and my wife, we spend a lot of hours buying gifts. I got this woman that all she does, she's been doing it like for 5 years. All through the year, she'll go and buy gifts on sale. And then when it's around Christmas time, she'll bring me a couple of truckloads of toys.
Truckloads of toys.
Oh, yes.
Oh, God. Listen, we're going to come back. We're going to have a break, and I'm going to ask you if you'd pray with some of the people who are part of our television ministry. Yeah. If you'll pray with me for their special intentions, will you?
I'd be glad.
Stay tuned, and I hope this inspirational story is giving you a push to perhaps reach out to the poor in your own experience in a good way. But stay tuned. We're going to be praying for your needs. I need to come to you to ask a special request. We need your financial help. I know that these are difficult financial times and you are struggling too, but I so want to allow this television ministry, this internet ministry, this applications on the telephones to continue. I need your help. A lot of people think that because we're Catholic, we've got the Vatican or the bishops that are giving us the money we need. It's not true. I need your help. Please, whether it's a small gift or a large gift, would you please share with us the missionary call of bringing the good news to all people around the world? We've got a powerful way of bringing blessings to people, even more powerful than what might happen in a church. I can get to those people that aren't going to church. Please, be generous. Allow us to continue, allow us to be able to do mighty things for the Lord. Thank you so much. The joy of the ministry, Eloy, is not only hearing your story and letting people hear that and be inspired perhaps to see what they could do in their parish or in their life to be able to do a little of what you're doing. But we also have an access to people that are writing in and they're emailing in and they're telephoning in, sharing some of the concerns they have in their heart, the special prayers. And what I'm going to ask people to do is, listening to your story, to respond to the question, telling us stories of how they have been able to really affect the needs of the poor in their community. So I'm going to ask you to do that. We have this blog, and you go to our webpage. And would you tell us your story? What have you done, maybe as an enhancement of what Eloy is doing, what have you done to reach out to the poor? And make sure you also watch our daily app. We have a daily message on the iPhone and on the Android, and now you can get our daily message through the web page. So there you go. You can watch this, and I come at you for 3 to 4 minutes every day reflecting on the daily message of Scripture. But now, here, this is what I'd ask you to pray with. Listen to this. We've got people all around the country and around the world that are asking for prayers. Paul from Wisconsin is asking. He has real physical needs. He has a real painful situation with his back, his shoulder, and his knees. But he's still working. Tough time. Ruth from Wisconsin, she needs a job, and please to help her find work. This is Marianne, wants to pray for her son, Aaron, for forgiveness in her heart. And then finally, I'm just mentioning this, Evelyn from South Carolina. She wants to pray for a special friend by the name of Martha, who's in the hospital. But you have got someone for whom we've got to pray in a special way. Tell us.
Yes, my great-grandson, he lives in Winslow, Arizona. He's been in the hospital going on 7 weeks.
How old is he?
He's 2.5 years old.
Okay.
And he's been in there. They took him in, and they didn't know what happened. His brain swelled, and they still don't know what his diagnosis is. But he's starting to come around now. He's starting to talk, and they got him on therapy. He's starting to be like on a walker, and yesterday he was running around all over the place.
All right, what's his name?
John Paul Lugo.
Okay, John Paul. Bring your hands up here. Lord, we're asking a special blessing, if you would, please, on John Paul, this little 2-year-old. Bring your healing power and bless all of these people who are part of our family in a beautiful way. And may Jesus' love for you always make you smile.